This is a Phantom Stockholder report presented by myself, Bob Bates, along with Joseph Hill, Rachel Kravanek, Marlon Duke, and Walt Richardson.
Our marketing strategy for the second year was to introduce two new brands. In quarter six, we introduced a new brand called The Ghost, which is geared towards the travel segment, which yielded the third highest rated brand in demand for that quarter. And then we made some modifications to the brand in quarter seven, which was increasing the computing speed from mid-range to high speed and adding in cloud storage to tailor more towards our customers' needs and wants. And then we noticed an increase in demand in quarters 8 and 9, and it was ranked the second highest in demand for that brand. And I also think it was a significant event in the marketplace because it allowed us to reach all customer target segments, and it could also led us to achieving 27% of total market shares for both quarter 6 and 7. And then in quarter 8, we introduced a new brand called the Revenant, which is geared towards the Mercedes segment, which is a high-end segment. And this brand yielded the highest brand judgment in all three target regions for quarters 8 and 9. And it also was the highest brand in demand for the Mercedes segments in quarter 9, achieving over 50% of the market share for that segment. Our next strategy was the price strategy, which we mainly kept the same from the original strategy since we had such an increase in sales revenues these last few quarters. We didn't want to make any huge adjustments that might lower that. But we also made one adjustment to our Revenant brand, which was the higher price one at 5,000, only because it was geared towards the Mercedes segment, which is a high-end segment. So we figured our customers wouldn't mind paying that price point. Our next strategy was the ad strategy, in which I only adjusted slightly, which was towards targeting areas with low demand and where we had the most competition. And I noticed in quarter 7, we were previously uncontested in Tokyo. But now we had one more competitor, Alpha and Omega. So I wanted to increase our local ad placements in that area to kind of drown them out, as well as increasing regional and local ad placements to compete with our competitors. So I doubled them both in quarter 6 and 7. And then in quarter 8, since we had such an increase in sales revenue, I wanted to take advantage of that and expand our media outlet and our regional ad placements in areas where we had the highest competitors and where we were previously uncontested, which was NORAM for Chicago and Illinois, and then APAC for Tokyo to compete with Alpha and Omega and hopefully able to drown them out as well. And this also allowed us to maintain 27% of the market share for the past few quarters, highest amongst our competitors. And we also designed new ads for the Ghost brand in quarter 6, which led to a 10% increase in market share for the traveler segment. And the marketing strategy overall created and led to a 10% increase in total market share in quarter 9, which was 37%, highest amongst all of that of our competitors.
Okay, so for our sales channel, we ended up opening new sales offices, like we said to the previous venture capitalist presentation. We started with our original offices in Los Angeles, Chicago, and Tokyo, and we ended up expanding into Paris and London. And at the time, we had only one other competitor in each of those markets. Excuse me. We only had one other competitor in each of those markets. So we got to hit Paris and London. We also increased our sales staff. So we ended up increasing our Los Angeles, Chicago, Tokyo, Paris, and London all a little bit, just so we could avoid lost sales due to stockouts. So we had that going on for us. And we also had some promotions going on within the sales channel. We had professional training programs being offered. And then we also did the cash bonus offered to the top third of the salespeople in each region. So that really allowed our sales force to have an incentive to sell all of our products and really push us through the final quarter.
In quarter 6, we increased our sales force to allow us to compete in Europe, which was a new venture to bring in more sales and more brand demand. And this led to increase in the number of sales with a net change of 7 in quarter 8. After increasing our sales force in quarter 7, In Q7, we kept the same level of the sales force until we noticed an increase in sales revenue and demand, which was extremely high, which led to an increase in our sales force. And then it also created us as the highest sales force in Europe in Tokyo, which was the APAC region in Q8. And then Q7, we also introduced training programs and sales contests to build employee morale and sales force promotions. And then we noticed we need to increase our operating capacity to keep up with the high level of demand for units each quarter and allow us to increase our sales in Q6 after adding another sales force in Europe.
Our manufacturing strategy. From the beginning of Phantom, we've been focused on producing a high quality product while maintaining reasonable manufacturing costs. In order to accomplish this, our main goal was to improve our changeover process by reducing operating overhead, improving the accuracy of demand projection to increase unwanted inventory, and increasing quality control. We followed our business plan. We reduced changeover costs, reduced operating overhead, decreased unwanted inventory while maintaining the status of a high quality device on the market. By following our business plan, we have earned the highest reliability judgment score out of our 5 competitors, reaching a score of 86, 12 points ahead of our closest competition in this category.
So for our financial strategy, the single biggest thing that happened in year 2 was our revenues were far greater than what we expected and what we planned for. This came as a shock to me when I was looking over the numbers, but another thing that you might notice in our financial statements is that the costs are proportionately higher than what we expected as well. We really wanted to take that extra revenue and convert it into investing into the future with things like production developments, improving changeover, increasing operating capacity to meet the extra demand, our R&D developments, constantly making sure that we are the technological leader in the industry, advertising to just keep up the sales numbers, sales offices and sales forces. We wanted to expand those again to keep up with sales and to expand into new regions where we saw profit was to be made. We used this extra revenue to go ahead and accelerate the growth that we had already planned for the company. A lot of the stuff that we planned to do in year 2, we were planning to do in year 3 and maybe even further beyond. But with such an increase in revenue, we were able to go ahead and do these things in year 2, which only worked to our benefit and just allowed us to keep growing at a faster pace. Actual numbers wise, compared to the goals that we set in our tactical plan for Q5, the return on investment that we originally estimated for you all was about 240%. And at the end of Q8, it ended up being around 291%. Our earnings per share was originally estimated to be 36. It is now 43. Our revenue, we generated 78% more revenue. So that gives you a good idea of how much more we were able to work with. And overall net income was 12.5% more than what we had originally estimated.
When it came to our goals, obviously we wanted to be the top company out of the rest of the teams. And we successfully were able to work through the course of the simulation, and with constant monitoring of the market research and data, we were able to create multiple brands that reach each target segment. For example, our Wraith Mark III and Revenant Mark II both placed highest in the innovator segment. The Revenant Mark II actually placed top overall in the Mercedes segment, and it was the only one by itself out of all the other teams that met the requirements to even qualify for that target segment. And then our Spectre Mark V, which was at the very beginning, was able to place top in the workhorse segment. The only target segment we didn't place top in was the Traveler segment, and that's honestly just because we entered into that segment late. But if you'd given us another year, I'm sure we would have been able to place first in that target segment as well. Overall, we were able to meet all of our goals, and we successfully placed first and beat out all the other teams.
The future of Phantom In our first 2 years of business, we have established ourselves as the most successful computer company in the simulation by hard work and dedication to uphold our promise of producing the most reliable, most advanced, and highest quality product on the market. Following our business plan to spread Phantom all over the globe with production facility in Shanghai, China, along with sales offices in Los Angeles, Chicago, Tokyo, Paris, and London. We've gained control of 37% of the market share for computer companies, establishing Phantom as a computer manufacturing powerhouse of the world. We will continue to grow our company, improve our technology, and keep our many customers satisfied.
So over the course of the simulation, we've learned a lot from it. Like I said, it taught us how to work together as a group. Frankly, at the beginning of the semester, we didn't know anyone. We didn't know each other, but we had to quickly get to know each other and meet up each week to work together. And it taught us how to we had to sit down, always look at the market research, interpret the data, and just figure out the best way to build the product from the ground up. Communication was key. We always had to communicate with each other, let each other know when we were available to work together, and discuss what we wanted to do for the company. Since each of us had an underlying specific job, it taught us how to work with a team, but also because everyone is dependent on your own part, it taught us to make sure to be accountable. Like I said, this all created lessons that can be applied to the real world, such as the importance of being responsible for oneself, and also how to work with a group. Even though you may just have met them, you have to get, that always happens in the real world. Like, you're not going to know everyone first off, and you're going to have to work with people. Maybe someone you don't like, maybe someone you like. Just ranges from, it varies and varies. But like I said, we worked great together, and it paid off in the end because we placed first. And overall, I think it was a great learning experience. So thank you.